Hey, it's Debbie, and I am excited to share this new product I've been testing out, and I wanted to have a podcast on it, on the ingredients and the research behind this formulation as we will bring on the founder. Check out Momentum. I get different formulations all the time, protein powders, usually what's in it, but this has 20 scientifically backed ingredients in one drink, and it's 2 scoops that mixes well and tastes good. I tested it out and I'm just so amazingly impressed of, is this all true? Are all these ingredients in here? And what is the source? Is it actually going to get into my cells so I can use these ingredients to help me be fit and healthy from the inside out? As so many products out there, I've been researching protein drinks and sources, and ideally we get real food first, not a powder. But sometimes you just need something quick and easy post workout and easy to digest. And this is something I'm just fascinated by. So, lion's mane, sun fiber, magnesium, essential minerals. So, check out all the stuff in here. And we want to look at the research. When you're looking at products, what is the dose that's required to create that benefit? Like vitamin D3, K2, electrolytes, TMG. So I really like the website here. What does this product, what are the ingredients? Why does it matter? How much do you need? B complex. Is it methylated? Because most people need to have methylated B complex. Prebiotics. What are the source? I just did a whole deep dive podcast on prebiotics. If they're fiber, they're not good for a lot of people and cause more problems if you have SIBO, histamine issues, fungal infection, candida stuff. And then another thing to look at, flavors. If it says natural flavoring, do you know that means it's not 100% natural? It could be other stuff in there, might be 1% is natural flavoring. So you want to look at, if something's chocolate, what is the chocolate from? Is it a flavor? Is it vanilla? Is it real true vanilla bean? Or what are the sources? And then sweeteners. A lot of products have sweeteners that I don't like and don't work well in my body, especially different types of stevia are not all the same. And I find a lot of products have multiple sources of sweeteners. So they might have monk fruit, erythritol, and stevia. And it's just way too much stuff because I rather get my sweetness by adding some frozen berries in a drink or having the chocolate or the vanilla has some. So let's bring on the guys behind this and talk about the science. So let's dive in to how Momentum Shake is different. And 30 grams of protein, why does that matter? Do you need a little more than that? That's another area. Not all protein is equal. And as I get older and I'm less hormones going on for us females, we're more anabolic resistant. 30 grams might not be enough. You might need 50 grams, 40 grams, and you need that right leucine threshold to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So, what is the amino acid profiles? We need to look at that. So, I'm going to ask a lot of questions. Hang on, enjoy the show. And remember, if you want to try this out, ask for my discount code, Coach Debbie Potts. I'll put the link in the show notes. All right, guys. I finally have Michael Tecku on the show to dive into the science of this new amazing formulation I discovered and been testing it out. And I'm so impressed as I'm a total research rabbit hole geek on how we can improve our future self by being fit and healthy from the inside out at a cellular level and looking at nutritional therapy to do that. I am talking about Momentum Shake and the formulation with the founder. So thanks for coming on the show to geeking out with me.
Miss Potts, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
So tell me, I shared in the intro, people watch the video, the shake, the ingredients will go into even more so, but what the heck? How do you come up? Why? What's your drive? What's your purpose?
Oh wow, we're getting right into it. Okay.
Let's go.
Um, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life and sold all my companies in 2018. Thought I was just going to retire and get good at golf.
Ah,
And turns out that that's not a very good life plan for a man in his 30s. You'll just get real sad. Um, so I had this like kind of reckoning and realized that I really like to build things. I almost need to build things. And I've never loved business if I'm being perfectly honest. So I always had this fight between like, I used to be a musician. So between being an artist and an entrepreneur and um, I decided to kind of meld those identities together. And I made a promise to myself that if I was gonna start something again, I was gonna treat it like I was gonna make my masterpiece. It was gonna take a decade at least, and it had to be something wanted to put my face and name on, and that would be a culmination maybe of my life's work. And I didn't even know what that was going to be. So I just started paying attention to my attention for the next like year, and I just couldn't stop thinking about this idea of what if I got younger this year?
wait,
That was the
hold on.
most,
I gotta
yeah,
write that down. Paying attention to my attention. That's
that's
deep.
that's my life ethos. I don't try to like pretend to know why we're here or where we're going or what what this is all for. I just assume that I have got the coding built in, and so wherever my natural curiosity is, I assume that's the correct path, and I just sort
Your
of follow
purpose.
that moving
Mm.
forward. um, with a lot of confidence. Like, oh, this must be leading me somewhere good. Turns out it did. But I just started spending the next, I don't know, 6, 7 hours a day, just really curious about why do we age? Can we turn it around? I like setting really impossible goals. So back in 2018, nobody was really talking about the concept of longevity at all. And it just seemed like the most impossible thing. It was like I saw my 40th birthday on the horizon, and I was like, it started to freak me out. And I was like, yeah, what if I got younger? And so that was a real driving force to begin research. And over the next, 18 months, 2 years, it was just all day, every day. I had nothing else to do but read science papers, read books, talk to doctors. And it became pretty clear to me that aging is a disease. All the things that we die of are really just symptoms of our body breaking down faster than it can repair itself. So I
Mhm.
came up with that basic keystone of a philosophy. What are we losing as we get older that causes these these damages to happen that have a feedback cycle of damage not happening faster than the repair to
Mhm.
just our body breaking down and not working anymore. So I put together a list of all of the molecules that we're made out of and that people know that we are declining in as we get older. So we lose muscle mass, we lose collagen, um, uh, we lose vitamins and minerals, we lose NAD. And so I put together the top 20 that we're declining in, or the things that we're most likely deficient in. And then I started supplementing those things. And I had this stack. It was like 500, $600 a month. And it took me like 30 minutes. I was like a little chemist in my kitchen every day, mixing all these pills and powders. And I thought I was being very clever. And then COVID hit. And my girlfriend, Stephanie, she has a dance studio. This is a long story. She has a dance studio, and if you can imagine keeping a dance studio in business over COVID, she got super stressed out. She didn't, I didn't handle COVID well. No, I don't think anybody did. But 6 months in, she just woke up one day and she couldn't see out of her left eye at all. She was completely black eye, just couldn't see anything. And of course, we freaked out. And the doctors couldn't diagnose it right away. We're scounging the internet trying to find solutions, and nobody knows what's going on. And eventually, we figure out that it's multiple sclerosis, and it's her optic nerve is swelling. Anyways, long story short, she's got to take zillions of pills every day, and it gets to the point where one, she doesn't know what to take. A lot of conflicting advice from many different doctors and many different sources on the internet. Uh, and
Thumbs up.
yeah, and then it just gets to the point where she can no longer even swallow anymore.
Mm.
She just like has a gag reflex. So I start mixing the pills into ice cream, and then it kind of hit me like, oh, I could make a chocolate shake out of this or something to make this easier for her. And then that's when it all kind of came together for me. I was like, I can make
Mhm.
this easy for people, and I can make this curated because you know this, and your listeners know this. The supplement world, the health world is confusing, but it's also full of nonsense. And I would never in a million years would ever be attracted to creating a supplement company because I feel like it's a pretty scammy world and I just
Mhm.
don't want to be associated with that. But that also sort of called out to me as like this is a space that needs transparency and honesty and someone to not sell pixie dust. Um, so that was my ethos. I took it on as a challenge to try to make a really complex thing simple and easy and delicious and uh, yeah, so that's how we got here.
So I was saying in the intro that I've researched the ingredients and look at the
Mhm.
science behind the why. And I'd like to look
Mhm.
at, all right, if this is good, how much of this ingredient do I need to create what they're saying that will happen, like brain health or
Mhm.
gut health related, whatever it may be. And a lot of times you have to take, say, if that's good, you have to take 10 cups of it, like pomegranate or,
Right, right, right,
broccoli
right, right, right.
seeds. I'm not going
Yeah.
to have that much of it or
Yeah.
whatever lion's mate and is looking at how much we need. And I know working with clients and doing lab testing and working on their foundations, people have we get them take supplements to get started and then ideally get the body working in its innate intelligence so it functions and does what it's supposed to do on its own once we give it the tools, the building blocks to do it. But the struggle most people have is what you said with your girlfriend. They're not able to they get supplement overload. They can't take them and they can't break them down. And it's like always the research too. All those supplements people are taking, how much are actually getting in and getting delivered into the cell or where it's supposed to go? How do I know if it's working? So you're spending all this money, you're spending all this time, and you're trying to put all these down, but are they doing anything? And I think the delivery method is important as well as absorption rate of it or getting it into the cell itself is challenging. And in other part, I know a lot of people, and I realize when I do their history, their timeline, they gag reflex, as I said, when they're trying to
Mhm.
take these supplements. Like I'm used to take a handful and just swallow them down, but a lot of people like they just can't do it. And it's a lot of times I find it's something from childhood that they choked on a supplement or
Mhm.
something as a child that they're not able to take them down. So figuring that out. But then figuring out, as you said, what can I open up and just open those capsules and put in water so I can just take a shot of something instead. And so I think having some type of formulation that, all right, can I throw this all into one drink and just take it down instead of having to take 20 capsules 3 times a day,
Right.
it's a lot more enjoyable
It
for most people. Mhm.
um there were so many problems to solve, and the reason it took me 3-ish years before we even launched uh was the first problem is humans, right? We don't need to learn more things. We don't need another thing to do. The, we all know we should be working out and eating less and doing all these healthy things. And it's not the lack of awareness or knowledge. It's that the habit is very difficult. It's an uphill thing. So my whole ethos in life is to kind of go with the flow of things, to not to push things uphill. So I try to find the breeze behind me. So
Mhm.
the first goal I had is like, how do I make this delicious? Something that you want to do, you look forward to doing. And that may sound really, counterintuitive when you think about like a supplement. It's like this is something you choke down usually, right? In fact, most people probably think that if it tastes good, it's bad for you. Like if it tastes bad, then maybe it's good. That's like our whole
Yeah.
ethos is like eat your vegetables, right? And it was always something you had to be forced to do. So I wanted to flip that on its head. I knew that if I could make this part of your daily life that you look forward to, you would get all these benefits and you would stick with the habit. So that was the first real goal. The second was narrowing down to the real 80/20 of what actually is your body made out of and getting you the most important things. 90% of supplements are going to be in this pixie dust category. They're like one-offs, they're a magic pill, they're going to change your life. But it's the real philosophy around it. Most supplements are trying to change the way your body works. I think your body is perfectly designed after zillions of years. It's figured out how to take care of itself. It just needs the raw materials to do it. So I'm not trying to alter the way your body works. I'm trying to help it do its thing. So there's no crazy thing in here that needs scientific studies and proof and a bunch of nonsense. It's like your body is made out of this and you're just deficient in it. So
Hmm.
that was the other big ethos. Um, the other thing you mentioned is dose and form, and those are super big riddles. A lot of supplements they do panel stuffing, I call it. We
Hmm.
got 80, 100, a billion superfoods in here, but they're at microscopic levels.
Hmm.
Um, so you'll see like these greens drinks, right? And they've got 80 superfoods in them, but it's milligrams, like 20 milligrams of kale or a carrot. And to put that into perspective for the listeners, like 20 milligrams is like 2 or 3 grains of salt. And there's no way you or anybody actually believe that that's doing something for you at that level. They just want to put it on there. But so my other rule is like if it's in momentum, it's at a complete dose, which usually means like 1,000 or 30 grams, which is 1,000 times more than a milligram
Yeah.
of a thing, right? So that's pills. You can't do that. To take everything in momentum in a pill would be, I don't know, like 150 pills, right? So it has to be in a drink. And then the last thing is the form. As you might imagine, there are degrees of quality at every single one of these ingredients. And there's probably like 10 or 12 levels for each thing. My main thing was like, we're going to get the most expensive, over the top, rare, best form you can possibly get. I don't care what the cost is. I'm trying to make a masterpiece here. So everything full dose at the most expensive version I can possibly get with it. And we've been really, really, really strict about that. Even as tariffs have come in and there's been shortages on stuff, the supply chain on this has been an incredible puzzle to
I
solve.
bet.
Very, very fun. Um, anyways, so those are the big hurdles for each of those things. But the great part of that is when you get the most expensive version of something, it doesn't taste as bad. So like most supplements taste terrible, and that's because they're the very inexpensive kind. They're
Mm.
bitter. Everything in ours just like doesn't have a terrible flavor to begin with, so I don't need to like stuff it full of artificial or quote unquote natural ingredients to cover up a bad flavor. It already tastes pretty fine. And then what we do is we use real uh, flavors. So we use
Yeah,
real
I said
chocolate from
that.
the most expensive chocolatier in the country, Guitar. It's outstanding. We import vanilla beans ourselves from Madagascar, and we extract the vanilla beans ourselves. We use, organic peanut butter or organic fruit, real organic fruit that's been freeze dried, and all of these things are 10, 20, or 100x more expensive than the alternative, but then it just tastes good. It
Mhm.
feels clean. It feels right. Um, and so everything's trying to be in alignment with that. There's no point in you buying this, taking it once, because you're not going to see anything. It's like going to the gym once or twice.
Mhm. Yeah.
I want you to do this for 100 days, and you're going to see some incredible results. And if there's anything that's holding you back on that, I'm going to try to fix it. So that's been the last 5 years is iterating and just chiseling off and trying to get to this perfect sculpture. We're close.
That's amazing. Have you done any studies as a lab test of, I don't know, methylated, or I guess the
I
B
mean,
in
I've been studying
serum? I mean,
myself, extensively. We've got, thousands and thousands of customers, and everyone is not everyone, but a lot of people are pretty obsessed with their health that are into this. It's not an inexpensive product. We're trying to
yeah,
make the Ferrari of supplements, right? So
yes.
it attracts a certain kind of person. We've got hundreds and hundreds of doctors. We've got an MVP from every single professional sport is taking it right now. So they just kind of find it. We do almost no advertising, and it's just sort of word of mouth, and it's really incredible the people that find it. It's the elite person in their category. It's been really amazing. I see the orders come in, and my team will find it like, oh, this is the 19 or the 2018 MVP of baseball. I'm like, oh, cool, cool. Or like, this guy's a billionaire. This guy runs this huge hedge fund. I'm like, oh, we got this new the lead singer from Third Eye Blind just emailed me this morning. I was like, oh, great. Um, so it's attracting people that I think that really are aware and care and could take anything in the world that they want, and they're picking this. And that's because they are seeing results right away. I don't
Mhm.
like to make claims on anything. I think that's kind of the icky part of supplements.
Yeah.
My goal is like you take it, you feel good in the first couple weeks because you have a little bit more energy, a little more clarity. But 3 months from now, you're like, oh, I'm recovering more from my workouts. So I want to keep working out. I'm sleeping better. So I have more energy. So I want to keep eating well and doing well in life. So the whole concept of momentum is that this is sort of a kickstart to make everything in your life easier. So you can just keep accelerating and moving forward to the things that are improving your life. Our tagline is live better, longer,
Mhm.
because those are in alignment.
Mhm.
The current principle out there is, no pain, no gain. You have to
Mhm.
suffer to get better. And I just don't think that's the way the world really works.
Mhm.
If you are enjoying life, if you feel alive, if you feel good, that's the right path. And it's going to move you in alignment towards living longer. The whole secret to this longevity thing is to become as healthy as possible today. And the way you become healthy as possible today is to feel good, is to feel alive. And you do that by eating things that make you feel good, doing exercises that don't cause injury. That's the secret for everything. So I want momentum in my life, and that's where the name
Mhm.
came from.
Love it. Well, that's exactly what I'm working on myself and sharing on this platform is doing what we can do now today to be our best self in the future, taking ownership of our health and understanding it's all in us and how we show up each day. And, you can't just rely on someone else to do it. You need to do it for yourself and not to blame the aging process that these are the things
Mhm.
that are going to happen because I'm getting older. They're my new normal, instead embracing it and making those adjustments. And you said in the very beginning why you pick these different supplements, these top 20 supplements to improve how you age is exactly what I was looking at. It's like, all right, well, why is my skin going to change? Well, I have less of this and this and this. Why is this changing? This because you have less and less. Like, wait a minute. Why are we just accepting that as our new normal and not making up for those differences? So that's why I started saying, let's embrace it, not blame it, and do things differently because it's a choice. If I'm not making as much of that, that's where I need to add it in. And that's what I love your formulation that I think is so fascinating. It's like, wait a minute, that's all the stuff I'm researching and looking at a root cause approach as I do with clients is like, let's work backwards when you have dysfunction, imbalances in your body. Why is that happening? Not just treat it with a band-aid. We need to work backwards. A lot of it is nutritional deficiencies. All right, why is that
Mhm.
happening? It's because we're not eating good foods or we're not able to digest them or we're eating in the sympathetic state. We're not even breaking them down and we've exposed to all these toxins in our environment. So we have this toxic burden overload that's shutting off our processes. So that's why I think the formulation just vibes so well with what I'm really excited about and passionate about sharing is that, all right, here's a great solution, especially for those people who don't want to take the supplements, who can't eat enough protein, who are on the go and then can't figure out how to get all this in. And so if we could share, can I share my screen and go through the formulation
Let's do
and
it.
help
Yeah.
explain the science? All right, let me push
So
share.
what you're explaining, Debbie, is essentially the first principles thinking that I use to design this, right? First principles is not taking everything that we've accepted to be true, but really looking at like what is this thing made out of? In this case, our
Mm-hmm.
body, right? And then looking at the raw materials, and then just paying attention to what is there not enough of, and that was the main thing. Your
Yeah.
original thought about starting at the foundation, which is the cell, is where I started it as well.
Hmm.
It's a super, just you can go deep just in this one little part. Usually, health is looking at the symptom of something like, oh, you have uh, a blocked artery, or you have high cholesterol, or whatever that is, and not what caused that to begin with. So each of those things starts there. So we start with the raw materials, and then I look at what causes most of the problems. And one is our cells losing energy, our mitochondria producing less energy, and just overall the cells not working as well, meaning they can repair less, and our immune system doesn't work as well. And so that causes a negative feedback loop. And the other part that I think is pretty foundational is our veins start to calcify as we get older. Literally turn into rock, which means they can't transport blood and oxygen and nutrients to all these different parts of your body to repair the muscle, to give oxygen to your brain. So we really wanted to focus on solving those two issues as much as we can. And I'll kind of walk through how we did that.
Is that related to nitric oxide production?
That is one thing. I wouldn't say that is the cause of calcification. Uh, it's a
Yeah,
number of things that
combination.
are deficiencies, but one of the big ones is usually people are deficient in vitamin K2 and
Hmm.
D3. And those
Hmm.
two are really important because they take calcium out of their blood and then bind to it and then deliver it to your bones. And so
Hmm.
when you're deficient, that calcium can't make its way to your bones and it just lodges itself in your veins. And that becomes a particular problem. If you were to look, if you've ever been to like one of those Body World museums where they, a long time ago,
Oh
you
yeah.
have zillions of miles of blood vessels in you, and they
Hmm.
get like as thick as a hair, very, very thin, delivering nutrients all over your body. Those really tiny ones are the first to calcify because it only takes like a couple of cells thick, and you no longer can get nutrients there. Like balding is in men, that's usually a calcification problem. You can no longer get the blood flow to those areas because you've lost collagen in that area, and your veins have calcified. So a lot of the
Hmm.
medications out there deal with improving blood flow in that situation. So that's just one
Hmm.
example that you can visibly see, but that's also happening on the inside and to your organs and to your brain. And so a lot of the things that we call diseases are really just symptoms of not getting blood flow and nutrients to those areas.
Yes, I just spent
Yeah.
all day Saturday diving into the glycocalyx layer of the vessels that line every cell membrane and every part of the body. It's like, how come we're never talking about this? This glycocalyx layer.
We're
So
always trying to help
interesting.
people deal with the problem instead of prevent the problem.
Hmm.
And so I think the whole longevity movement is like, hey, you're most likely going to die of a heart attack, Alzheimer's, uh, diabetes, or cancer. But really, those are all just your body breaking down. So what do we do to not have that happen or delay it for as long as possible?
And I don't know what, for me personally, I don't know other people, what they're motivated by, but I mean, for example, I'm in Palm Desert at my mom's house right now, who she just turned 84. My dad passed away when he just after he turned 80. And that inspired me to going, wait, he should have lived another 10 years or so. Why did he pass away? Why did he die 2 weeks in the hospital? And that's my passion and purpose and mission to help people understand all this that we're talking about is what we should be taking ownership. I mean, you're younger than I am, but once you hit 50s, you better damn well be taking care of your stuff from the inside out if you want to
You
be
know, it's
thriving.
you take care of yourself and your body will take care of you. And
Yes.
your dad, I'm sorry to hear that your dad died at 80. He could have, there's no reason anyone right now in America can't live to 100.
Hmm.
There's a lot of genetics makes a big difference, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of choices throughout a lifetime that accumulate,
Hmm.
and we can make a difference in the
Yeah,
quality of that probably the last 10 or 15 years of his life wasn't as enjoyable as it could have been, and he probably got robbed of an extra 10 or 15 years. 10 or
yeah,
15 years is so long, right? And
it is.
So we're talking about 30 years because it wasn't at the quality of life probably that he wanted beforehand. And then it like, that's like almost a whole lifetime,
Yeah.
of like activeness.
Well, that's what I keep
So
saying in that book. I think, sorry, did
no.
you have something else there? Sorry. The book Die with Zero. I listened to this podcast Peter Tia had on a year ago or so, and it was just interesting. And I keep thinking about that when, what we're doing now. So when you retire, not many people are going to retire at age 35 and play golf and play the rest of the year. But if you retire, say 65, then what are you going to do? I want to be, I say this every show, so people don't hear me again, but I'll tell you, I want to be traveling. We want to live in Europe part time,
Hmm.
go on these bike trips, do all this stuff. So I'm doing everything I can do. So when I retire, I'm not sitting around in a retirement home in a chair. I want to be active and thriving and playing. So I think that's my mentality that I don't know if people think about recreating my future self and designing that person, visualizing how you see yourself living life 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now.
Purpose is the secret longevity molecule.
It is.
Um,
I've heard that.
Dylan's one of my favorite, and he's got this line that if you're not busy being born, you're busy dying.
Oh,
And I just think it's really, really important that if you don't have something to live for, you're not going to live forever.
yeah.
So that was my big takeaway from, quote unquote, like winning the game and then retiring. And I got fat, I got depressed. You
Mm,
have to be moving forward on something.
purpose.
If you're not growing, you're dying. We're just like
Mm,
any other organism on this planet. So you have to pick like a really, really ostentatious goal and move towards it. And that's how we feel good. That's our body rewards us when we are advancing. And if we're not, it's like, oh, I guess we're done here.
yeah.
So you got to be moving
So
towards something forever.
let's
Let's go to the ingredients. Yeah, the
go
science.
into the ingredients. I know you and I could probably talk about life and for an hour, but people probably want to learn about these ingredients. Funny because my neighbors beside my mom here, they're actually live in Ireland in the summer, but their family's related to the Kerry gold butter, the
Right.
Kerrys. So the Irish Whey, truly gas-fed butter. But how best is explained here, the ingredients are on the ingredient panel on the left. And then if we can go into the ones that I
Sure.
like
Yeah.
this one up here. I find this interesting, but it moves around. So tell me which way to
You can
go
click
to
on
go
those
into.
and that will stop.
Okay.
So let's start with protein, right? Uh, Protein is
Wait,
amino
hold on. Where am I
acids.
getting protein part? We have a picture of protein.
Yeah, if you go up top and you click around on those slides, it'll
Okay.
move
So
to
you
where you
talk
want
and
and
I'll
we'll
find the
pause.
right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So a lot of people are asking me all the time, like, oh, does it have this amino acid or this amino acid? Protein is amino acids, right? And peptides are chopped up little amino acids. So just some nomenclature for everybody there. So your body is made out of amino acids and peptides, protein, right? And we lose it. And most of us are not getting enough. Most people agree that we want to get about a gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I want to put a lot of protein in there. So we have
Ideal
30
body
grams.
weight, you should say.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Not, yeah. One of the other secrets to longevity is to have a low body fat percentage. That's going to solve like 95% of all the other issues you have. So eating more protein and eating less calories is the secret to that. So this Momentum doesn't have a ton of calories. It's got 230 calories, but it's got 30 grams of protein, which is a really pretty good ratio. So we have two sources of protein. One is our grass-fed Irish Whey. I was in Ireland. I went to the Kerrygold Butter Museum and I started
Huh.
learning about this rich history of dairy there. And that's when it struck me that, oh, wow, yeah, Kerrygold butter is like way better. Why is that? It's because Ireland is one of the few places on earth that can grow grass nearly year round. I live in Wisconsin and we're the dairy capital of America,
Yeah.
right?
Cheese heads.
Yeah, exactly. But it's under snow half the year, right?
Mhm.
So it cannot be grass fed. So there is no real like there really
Wait,
isn't
what?
a grass fed option in America. They have to eat something during the winter. Maybe it's hay and corn and soybeans part of the time. People will
Huh.
say grass fed because there's not really a certification program in America, but in Ireland there is. So what we do is this thing called Truly Grass Fed Certified, and we work with this program that only works with small Irish farms that guarantee that their cows are outside at a minimum 95% of the year in pasture, eating real grass,
Nice.
living normal lives, and it makes a distinct difference. I have visited and tried and talked to every major protein manufacturer in the world, and it's just not close. The taste, the amino acid profile, it's not close. This is significantly better. I had to strike a deal with the folks in Ireland because they weren't going to ship it anymore after the tariffs. And I don't know how many people they're shipping it to, but like we're ordering like $500,000 orders so we can secure it. And they'll like, we're just paying a massive premium. And I don't care because it's like
Yeah,
that much
you
better.
need it. Hmm.
There's a huge difference between plant protein and whey protein or like a chicken breast. And what that difference
It
is your
is.
amino acid ratio. And
Hmm.
so we've probably all heard of the nine essential amino acids. And essential means that your body cannot create it. You have to eat it. And it's essential for life. There are thousands of amino acids that your body can take those nine and then turn them into other things, but you cannot make these. So you have to get them from eating protein. And in plant protein, the branch chain amino acids, the ones really you need for making muscle, are at like 50, 60% the amount. So you've got to take 2 or 3 times as much plant protein to get the same amount of the essential amino acids that you get in whey protein. So I know there's a big debate about it, but the numbers is no debate. The
Just
other
a
part of it,
whole,
yeah, go ahead, Debbie.
this is a big topic for me
Yeah,
because I'm always discussing the importance of, okay, how much protein do you need, especially middle age and especially females aging,
right.
to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, and that all protein is not equal, as you just mentioned, the plant versus animal based, and those people struggling trying to do the plant based, and combining that in with the leucine threshold and how that is required to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So it depends on your purpose for having protein. For me, it's I don't want to lose muscle, I actually want to gain muscle. So just I've done some episodes on that. People want to geek out, but I that's a big, huge area that people don't understand. My goal is to have a protein source to help me grow muscles, or maybe you're just trying to feel full. I don't know, but
We,
your note is important.
Debbie, you know what you're talking about, and I appreciate that. For women, like one of the number one actual reasons for death is that they fall. And
Yes.
that's directly related to loss of muscle. You fall, you
Hmm.
break your hip, you become immobile, everything is downhill after that. Most women die within a year of falling.
Hmm.
And it's like a simple thing. I'm walking my mom around right now, and I'm just like, I'm constantly looking at like cracks in the sidewalks and stuff, and every curve. I'm like, Mom, you cannot fall. It's a death curse, and so everything you can do to maintain strength is massively important. Protein is one of those things, and the source matters a ton. The other thing with plant protein is you have to concentrate. Like the peas is usually the source. You have to concentrate those, which means you're concentrating heavy metals. You're concentrating
Mm.
pesticides. It's not great. Plus, they're really hard to digest.
Yeah.
It's just you have to take a bunch of other things, or you'll get bloated, or like have like weird poops, and like especially for women, that's probably already a difficult thing. We don't want to do that. And it comes with its own host of problems. This is super easily digestible. It's very bioavailable, and it's just got twice as much of everything you want for half as much stuff you have to take.
Hmm.
The other 10 grams of protein we have is collagen. So if you click over one or two, um, collagen is a particular kind of amino acid or a group of amino acids, I should say. And that's like 50% of our body is made out of it, but we lose it. We just stop making it as much. And that's what causes your skin to start sinking in, wrinkles to start coming in. It's the elasticity, it's what our joints are made out of. And you lose it, you don't get enough of it. And that's the first step, like all the visible signs of aging. So we have 10 grams of grass-fed collagen, which comes from cows, right? Not milk, but like their hides and their bones and all those things get ground up. There are zillions of kinds of collagen out there. They're not all created equal. Most of them taste like dog hair. They're just really ugh. A lot of heavy chemicals in a lot of them to extract all those things.
Hmm.
We use the best one in the world. It only uses water, only uses grass-fed cows. It's noticeably higher quality. And 10 grams is a sufficient dose to actually see results. A lot of times when you see these other things, they're going to put in like trace amounts of it, or I see people taking pills of collagen. It's like a half a gram a pill. There's no way that's going to do anything for you. And then the other animal-based thing we have is colostrum, which is right next to you.
Wait, before you move there,
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
collagen, that's 10 grams. The whey protein is 30 grams, right?
No, no, that's 20. So
That's the
total, there's 30
20.
grams of protein with the two. And they have different amino acid profiles, but they stack together really nicely to make something really complete.
Okay. Question real quick. I'm going to talk for an hour, 2 hours here. But the collagen, I, that doesn't count for muscle protein synthesis, right?
Yeah, it
Because
does.
collagen's for skin,
If you
hair,
were to
and
just
nails.
take it on its own, it would be missing one of the essential amino acids. But it's got a lot of the others in it, like an abundance of things, like histine and lysine. But when you stack it, so when you mix proteins together, so like the whey protein has a bunch of these certain ones, but it's lower in these others, and they happen to be kind of inverse, so they stack together pretty nicely. So it's a very complete protein, more complete than they would be on their own.
Mm, okay. So I always thought collagen was just skin, hair, and nails, doesn't help build muscle. You needed that. So you can't really count that in your protein goal for the day.
No, so you're the way you phrase it, you have like a limiting factor. Whatever the lowest amount of that one of the essential amino acids is the most you can make
Mhm.
of that protein, right? Now you're eating protein throughout the day and all different kinds of sources, and your body will take all of that together. Collagen has 8 of the 9 essential amino acids in it, right? At high quantities. It's just missing one of those, but that happens to be super
Mm,
prevalent in the
got it.
whey protein. So it compensates for it.
Balance out.
And they
Okay.
stack together. So at the back of every bag, I don't have a bag in front of me, but we list out how much of each amino acid is in there. And it's going to be one of the highest ratios for any protein you're going to see out there because we're
I,
combining these two.
and I will add, I know Dr. Donald Layman and Gabrielle Lyon talked about that for years, that the goal is to get amino acid profile on the ingredient panel on foods
Yeah, I
someday.
mean, like we try to make this. I'm trying to make something elite for people that are doing elite things, and they care
Hmm.
about this. So, like, we put it
Hmm.
on there. They care about like the heavy metals. They care about the pesticides and all these things. So we do the tests. We have third party results, and we put them right on the website. You don't have to guess. You don't have to take my word for anything. It's all backed up.
So I'll stop talking so we can get through here. We'll be here for three
We
hours.
just there's
So
so many ingredients, right?
I know 20
Um,
ingredients. I should have started from the very first minute recording. Okay, so
we can cut out the
colostrum.
beginning. Colostrum. Colostrum, maybe most of the women here know, it's the first milk that all mammals produce. And it's the most nutrient-rich food source that maybe we know about. And so it's usually in the first milking of any animal. And so cows do this as well, of course. And it's full of you're basically transferring an immune system booster, growth factors, all of these things that help your body repair and grow. And that's what we're trying to do. And so they're transferring that from the mother to the calf. Luckily, cows produce a lot more milk than the calf needs. So the first thing that happens is the calf gets everything that it needs, and then we collect the remainder in that first milking. And it's just super packed with nutrients. There's nothing else that we could get gram for gram that would deliver this kind of result. You've probably heard of a company called Armor that made it really famous in the last couple of years. Their serving is 1 gram, and they collect in the first 7 days. So as you might imagine, every single milking gets more and more diluted, more like milk and less like colostrum. We only collect in the first
Four
day.
hours.
That's it.
Wow.
So it's twice the potency. Their serving is 1 gram. Our serving is 2 grams. So it's the equivalent of getting 4 times as much in every single serving, which would be, I think I think they're charging like $1 a gram. So we're trying to deliver essentially $4 per serving of value.
So
And that's what I
that's
kind
a,
of try to do with everything.
and that's really important for your marketing, I think, is people need to understand when they're spending money on quality nutritional therapy products, where is the source? How much
Hmm.
dose? And how is, I mean, I love how you have this full on information on your website. So the people that are curious as mine and want to understand, all right, what is the amount I need? you're saying the difference. And so many people, as you said, it's very, the marketing out there, people may not care or pay attention to behind the label and what's the research, but that's really powerful information you guys are just listening to.
It's extremely expensive too to kind of like pull this off.
Yeah,
So
it is.
just for reference, most companies are selling a single ingredient thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're charging 50, $100 for the thing, and we're selling all of those together for 150 bucks a month. So if you went out and bought all these things at the same quality level, it's like 550, six hundred
Oh,
dollars
yeah,
a month. Plus you got to
easily.
go research and find and buy all those things every month and make sure you don't run out. And then you got to spend 20, 30 minutes like measuring them all out. And it's not going to taste good, of course, but
Well,
so
that's why I was
um
so excited to find this because
yeah,
this is just exactly what I'm obviously researching. So, okay, let's talk about these guys here on this page
sure.
because
So,
I'm all into anti-wrinkles and hyaluronic acid is a
well,
big part of what I've been adding in and joint.
again, alignment is really important. It's not vanity that you want to look good. Looking good
Mhm.
is a vitality sign, which, it's indicative of the rest of how everything is working. So
Inside out.
hyaluronic acid, you maybe have probably heard of that in like in a lot of skin moisturizers and stuff, but it's actually something your body makes.
Yep.
And the whole purpose is that it retains moisture in your joint and skin. And of course, we lose a bunch of it by the time we're 50. And that's another reason, along with collagen loss, that our skin starts to just deteriorate and not be as springy and youthful. So what most people do is they spend a lot of money on creams and they put it on the outside of their face and just their face because they're just trying to protect the moneymaker, right? Uh, but your skin heals from the inside out.
Hmm.
So what we want to do is get a full dose from the inside, let it go
Yeah.
to wherever the body thinks it needs to work. So you have skin all over your body, right? We don't want it to age anywhere. So taking it orally is like way more effective than just putting it on your skin topically and just hydrating the outside of your skin. So within like 6 weeks, 3 months, you're going to start to really notice that those skin cells move up and replace the older ones. Like, oh wow, this is a noticeable difference. So in hyaluronic acid, there's obviously a huge discrepancy between good and bad. And a lot of that has to do with the molecular weight, the size of the molecule. Most hyaluronic acid is made for topical, which means they make it really, really tiny so it can get into your pores. Uh, and the supplements that are providing it right now are probably using that because that's the most abundant manufacturer source of it. It's like way less expensive, but that's not how your body would make it. Your body's going to make it at a much larger size molecule. And so we specifically get ones that are 1,600 Daltons. That probably doesn't mean anything, but it's like 1,000 times larger molecule than what is mostly available. It's much more expensive, but it's super important because if you were to ingest like most supplements the small version of it, your body won't recognize it and your immune system will attack it. It'll create inflammation. And I would say almost all of these ingredients, there can be net negative if you're getting the wrong form. And this is an example of that. So you want to make sure that you're paying the extra amount to not cause damage to, when you think you're doing something good. So this is the most expensive version in the right form that your body can take right away, recognize it'll look identical to what your body produces and deliver the hyaluronic acid to where you need it.
And the 250 milligrams is based on research that shows that's a
Right.
minimal effective dose.
Right. We don't do minimal on anything. We want to do optimal. So
Optimal dose.
everything is going to be at where the most research is that shows there's the best dose. We don't want to overdo it. So we're trying to get the 80/20, like the optimal dose that we possibly can, not like the smallest effect, the biggest effect for the least amount that we can do. So we don't skimp on anything. It's always at a full dose. The same thing with this NAD plus. The best studies that came back were at a gram. A lot of supplements are giving 250 milligrams, which is a fourth the amount. And people are like, oh, it doesn't do anything. It's just you weren't taking enough, right? It's like you're doing 2 push-ups instead of 30, and you're not seeing results and blaming the thing. But the reason that they do that is because it's a very expensive thing. So, real quick chemistry lesson here. NAD is essentially the gasoline that your mitochondria, and if you remember your ninth grade biology, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's the engine, and NAD is the gasoline that powers that engine. And so what happens is we lose about 50% of that by the time we're like 55 or so, and we just have less gas in the tank. And our cells make everything, right? And if they can't operate well, then they die, and then everything has a negative feedback cycle. So, eh, have you heard of NAD plus before?
Not at all. Just
Okay,
kidding.
okay, great. So there's a
I've
thing called the
done many podcasts on it, and I think it's so important for people to understand because they're taking all these supplements that actually say they're for NAD, but they don't work 'cause they're not getting into the cell. So talk away.
right. So the let's get into it. This thing called the Krebs cycle, and just go back in the recesses of your mind and go back into
Yeah.
biology class. So the Krebs cycle is taking this NAD and moving it through this system of burning the fuel and then recapturing it and converting it back into fuel. So NAD is a type of vitamin B3. All living things need this to survive, and we become deficient in it. And this guy named Dr. Sinclair out of Harvard kind of really discovered this maybe like 10 years ago that you can supplement this and bring those levels back up to when you were like a 20-year-old. And it really makes a difference in every reaction that's happening in your body because it's at the cellular level, right? So after you spend the NAD, it returns back to the largest form of vitamin B3, which is nicotinamide. And then you have an enzymatic reaction that breaks that down into nicotinamide ribosome, NR. Maybe you guys have heard of that supplement. And then it goes, it's smaller again, into NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. And so that's the smallest version that there is. And then that is small enough to get back into your cell and then get converted into NAD plus. So you can't take NAD plus as a supplement. It's not stable. You can't orally take it. Some people inject it into their blood, but it probably has to go through that same cycle again to become small enough to enter your cell. It's too big. So that's the process. So we use a precursor called NMN, and that is the most bioavailable, optimal form to have the fastest reaction to get through your gut and into your cells, doing its thing.
Yeah. So important as
Is
we
also the
need the
most
energy.
stable. So what
Oops.
people run into a lot is not all manufacturers are the same, and it's an unstable molecule, at least the way some people try to make it. And by the time it gets to you and it's like pill or powder form, it's been sitting for like 6 months and it's broken down
Hmm.
and it's become inert. We use the absolute best manufacturer in the world, the folks that kind of invented it, and theirs lasts for 2 years stable, which is a very difficult thing to do. And it's 10x the cost of what a lot of other people are using in their supplement. But what's the point of taking something if it's not going to even be
Exactly.
available, right? So,
Yeah. I've done a lot of podcasts with True Niagen and their Niagen and then Qualia. We just did a podcast last week on they use the True Niagens NR to in their supplements too. So Niagen is a popular method.
right. So Niagen, I mean, I'm sure they're a great company. They're using a nicotinamide ribosome, which
Hmm.
converts into NMN. And
Yeah.
then, so it's an extra step, but they kind of have
Hmm.
like a patent on that.
Hmm.
And so they're trying to niche that out. It's, it's not, it's not quite as, it takes more enzymatic steps to get to the same place.
Yeah,
It's
I
less
hear that.
expensive.
So lion's mane's very big, especially I'm all about cognitive health because that's my biggest fear as I get older is dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. I think that's the worst way to go. I
Mhm.
rather, do what I can do now. And what the dose is what I'm interested in. It's sort of like the 5 grams. Talk about lion's mane, your research, and the optimal amount we need to get in to create the effect on our brain health.
So lion's mane is one of the very few ingredients that we include that like your body doesn't produce lion's mane mushroom, right? So it's one of the few that I thought had enough rigorous research and thousands of years of humans using it for it to make sense to include. And there's just very few things that have any kind of evidence that show that they help your brain repair. So what lion's mane does is there's a thing called beta glucans, which is the active ingredient. It can actually cause neurogenesis. It can grow new neurons and help your brain repair. And like we said before, that's one of the four horsemen is like Alzheimer's, which is brain loss. And so we want to do everything we can to like speed up that recovery process or support that recovery process so you can have a mind as long as possible. So again, that's the reason it made the cut. Nothing makes the cut in momentum if I didn't take it for 2 years and check all the side effects, see real results. And I just noticed a pretty immediate result with lion's mane. Like I love playing chess and you get a national ranking score. And I had been kind of stuck in the top 80% for like 2 years. I wasn't getting any better. And then within like 6 weeks of this, my best friend and I, who also plays chess all the time, both of our scores went up 200 points. And we're like, what's going on here? Uh, we just
Test.
we got faster, we got smarter, and so we jumped into like the top 90%, which was really exciting for a couple of nerds. But anyways, you'll notice more focus, more energy, and just a clarity of thought from it. So the difference between this lion's mane and every other lion's mane is I personally have been friends with the owner of this company for the last 10 years, and his family has been cultivating and working with families in China where this is all lion's mane that's any good comes from China because they've been growing it for thousands of years there. And so they've been running this company for 50 years. This is all they do is make these mushrooms.
Hmm.
And the difference is, so say we had an apple tree. If I wanted to give you some apple juice, you would imagine me, I take the apple and then crush that up and give you a juice from that. What a lot of mushroom growers do is instead of taking the fruiting body, the thing you'd recognize as a mushroom, the thing in that picture right there, that's the fruiting body. They take the entire mushroom, roots and all, and then grind that up.
Mm.
And you'd be pretty pissed off if there was a bunch of sticks in your apple juice, right? It's not the same thing. It's not the fruit. So what the way it's traditionally grown and in America because of cost, they'll grow it on a bag of rice. They'll inject the spores into a bag of rice, and then they'll take that entire bag of rice and grind it up. So you're getting at least 50% rice, about 45 to 46% of what they call the mycelium, the roots, which have almost none of the beta glucans, and then you get about 2 to 3% mushroom. That sucks, right? So
Mm.
ours are grown on logs like they have been for thousands of years. They only collect the actual mushroom themselves, and that's got 98% of the beta glucans in it. They use water to break it down and extract it, no harsh chemicals, and then they dry it into a powder. It's way more potent. It's obviously way more expensive to get the pure stuff, but it just works.
How long, taking lion's mane in itself, have you found, like, as you did your chest experiment, to create the
I
benefits that
think
you
it's something
felt?
you're going to like notice that day, and I think
Mm.
it'll be cumulative, and you'll see like a pretty big boost within the next like 6 weeks or so. Some of these things are designed like you feel good right now, right?
Hmm.
And I think that kind of reward mechanism is really important
Hmm.
for humans. We want to see instant results. So that was
Yeah.
so magnesium taurate. There's a reason because that's in there because that form is going to make you feel good like today. But there are other things like the sun fiber or the the protein like that's going to take you 6 8 weeks. The collagen's going to take 2 to 3 months, and you're because like your hair doesn't grow in hours, it grows in days, weeks, months, right? So to get the new improved stuff, it's going to take you 3 6 months to get new better hair. um, so the trick that a lot of companies do to kind of help you feel it, as people would say, is they just stuff it with caffeine, right? And then you like get a little buzz. You're like, oh, this is working. My
Hmm.
hands are tingling. um, but we don't do that, obviously. So you have to go into it with the mindset like, I'm going to do this for 100 days, and I'm going to stick with it. And at the end of 100 days, one, you have a habit that you've developed, but you're going to see some
Yeah.
real results.
Hmm. Hmm. So I know we've got, I don't know how much time you have left on
I got
your
all day.
schedule, but sun fiber, magnesium, minerals, Any top ones we should go into? L-glutamine, I think would be good to touch on as we have
Let's talk about the
athletes
gut
here.
in general, and I can kind of
Yeah.
speak on some of these important ones. So a lot foundationally, where do a lot of problems kind of happen in people? And it starts in the gut. We're taking in a lot of nutrients, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe we're not actually making those bioavailable and processing them. So with the sun fiber, this is a particular kind of fiber. It's called a medium chain fiber. A lot of fibers out there are short chain or long chain. Short chain makes things go very quickly through your system. Long chain makes it go very slowly. So they're good for like laxatives or to block you up. There are very few medium chain fibers, which is like the Goldilocks zone, where it's going to go through it and regulate your speed correctly. So, whatever issue you're currently facing, this will help slow it down or speed it up to a good pace. And why that matters is you get enough time to actually extract the nutrients from your stomach. If you're blocked up, that's terrible. You shouldn't, you should be pooping every day, folks. And if you're not,
Yeah.
that's going to cause a whole host of problems. You're going to get bacteria that shouldn't be growing in your upper intestines, making a bunch of gas and things like that. That people, candida, it's going to have a whole bunch of problems. But you're also going to get this thing called leaky gut, where undigested food particles start getting into your bloodstream. And your body hates that, of course. So it sends its immune system to start attacking that because it looks like foreign agents in your bloodstream. And I would say this is the cause of most autoimmune disorders, besides stress, of course. Like stress is another inflammation thing. But this thing called biomimicry happens where your body can no longer see the difference between this, wheat protein, gluten or something, and a virus. So
Mhm.
when people are gluten intolerant, that's usually what's happening. It's an autoimmune reaction because like a gluten particle narking and it thinks you've just been infested with a virus. And so you make a bunch of immune response cells, and that's what inflammation is. It's like you get all puffy because you just created all these immune cells. And when you have that kind of chaos going on, then your body starts attacking other things that look like it. Oh, we just got a storm coming in here. Sorry. um, and there are things in your body that look really similar to viruses. And so what happened with Stephanie is that her myelin sheath looks really similar to the monovirus, um, or mono, right? So your body starts attacking itself because it thinks it's attacking the virus. And there are zillions of different forms of autoimmune diseases, but they're all basically that, right? So if you can reduce inflammation, if you can fix your gut, you're going to prevent a lot of these autoimmune attacks. And for women, they seem to be the culprit of autoimmune, or the victim, I should say, of autoimmune. It's like 55, 60% of autoimmune patients are women. And I think it comes down to poor digestion, which can be a number of things, hormones or whatever. But we really want to start there for people. Fix that, and then a lot of the downstream things are going to go away. So sun fiber is going to help regulate and make you regular. And then L-glutamine is an amino acid. We don't count it towards the protein, but you could. So
What-
lining of your gut and intestine.
Yep. Just going there.
This particular amino acid to get strong. So to prevent leaky gut, we really want to make a strong gut lining, and it's only like a couple cells thick. So if any of them are weak, that's where the food particles and stuff get out. So we want to make those really strong, close to prevent all negative feedback things. Did all make?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is a little in and out, but I think L-glutamine, whoops, it's frozen now, but
Oh,
L-glutamine has a lot of research. You there? Oh, bad connection. All right, so sorry we got a little interruption on weather issues over there. So I want you to just L-glutamine, there's a lot of research, especially if people are active and endurance athletes. I just listened to this and studying glutamine research is coming out a lot more lately on how we need more of it, especially if you are doing endurance hour, 2 hour, 3 hour type of exercise, that it really matters to prevent leaky gut, but how your body uses it more when you're doing exercise. And so it depletes it. And so exercise as well can, and cortisol can cause more leaky gut. So we cortisol, stress, exercise stress, using it up. So I think it's important to look at the research of glutamine to help, as you're talking about leaky gut, and to help repair the gut wall lining.
Right. So stress, I think, is one of the worst things you can do to your body in an excessive amount. There's certain amount
Chronic.
of stress, like from a moderate amount of exercise, that will
Mm.
signal for your body to regrow, which is good. But again, if you do too much physical or emotional stress, it's going to be more damage to your body than your body can keep up with and repair. So we got to really keep that in track, or at least make sure you have the raw materials to make it happen. A lot of people exercise and then don't eat enough protein to actually
Yeah.
fix the damage that they just caused. Because that's what exercise is you're damaging your body to signal regrowth. So L-glutamine is probably one of those things that when you're under stress that your body uses up really quickly, and then it can't do one of its main functions, which is to supply energy to the cells that line your gut. So this is the food that your cell wall, your gut wall uses and needs. So leaky gut happens when the cells are weak and holes happen. So L-glutamine will feed those cells, close up those walls, and prevent all that undigested food and autoimmune stuff from happening in the first place. So we put in a full dose at 3 grams, and that's why it's there.
Mm. And there's vitamin D, electrolytes. Can we go into, we just 5 more minutes here. So I want to make sure
Sure.
we get these guys.
Real quick,
TMG.
electrolytes are, everyone's
Yeah.
taking like hydration water and stuff. Electrolytes are magnesium, potassium, different kinds of salts and stuff. And usually sugar is like kind of thrown in there. It's what your nervous system needs to function. And like a
Mhm.
grade might have 1/20th the amount of electrolytes that we're including in forms of
Mhm.
magnesium and potassium. So it's just super important to get those. I know a lot of people are like taking element and those other things and paying like $1 a stick. This is already included at twice the amount of each one of those
Wow.
in the best possible form.
Yes, I know a lot of people do those different electrolytes, they're into them, but I don't do well with stevia
Right.
and the different sweeteners. So, plus that people that are already struggling with sugar addiction and reducing
Right.
carbs,
Those
when
are
you have sweetness, I think brain wants more, even though it's no calories.
Yeah, I think a lot of people drink those because for some reason they don't like water and it's a bunch of artificial flavors and sugars to help them make maybe drink more water. I would be
Hmm.
really careful about
Hmm.
adding those extra things.
Yeah. I think people just, again,
Tea,
don't read the ingredients and they just hear the social media people
a
promoting
lot
it
of
all
people
the
just
time.
don't know. Whenever you see a bunch of those things that, a natural flavor, it means it's not the real thing, right?
Yeah.
If it's a natural flavor, it's going to say chocolate or,
Mhm.
strawberry and like nothing else. A
Yes.
natural flavor is something that's made from earth, but not the thing. It's meant to mimic the thing at 1/100th the cost. And so whenever you see that, that's pretty indicative that they're taking shortcuts everywhere, right? They're trying to save money as their main prerogative and not make something outstanding. So I would just be really cautious. Is that's the red flag? Is like probably the rest of the thing is junk too. Okay, so onward. Trimethylglycine, TMG. This is an excellent example of the way we built this. Is that a lot of these things don't function well on their own. They need like a partner molecule. So we put vitamin K2 and D3 together because you need them to finish that synergistic reaction of taking the calcium out of your blood and putting it into your bones. Trimethylglycine, you need to take that when you're taking the NAD plus precursor. So those need to work together at a 1-to-1 dose. So we have 1 gram of trimethylglycine, which is going to help a bunch of other things at the same time. It's going to help you with energy and muscle recovery and all those things. Um, your body has millions of enzymatic reactions every day, right? And it needs a methyl donor. This is probably getting super sciencey to make those things happen. electrons and whatnot. I don't want to Google it. So this molecule has three methyl donors in it, trimethylglycine. And glycine is an amino acid that's one of the essential ones. So you have an amino acid attached with three methyl molecules to it. And that's the structure of the molecule. And so it's super important. It's delivering glycine, but it's also delivering those three methyl donors that just infinite things happen with those. All of our B vitamins are methylated as well, which is a really important thing. So that makes it bioavailable for people. A lot of B vitamins are not methylated. They're synthetic versions that are not bioidentical. So folic acid is an example of a B vitamin that over half the population cannot break down. It's literally like a poison that just floats in your body, and your body can't break it down, and it's got to try to just pass it through. But it creates a negative reaction. It's in all enriched flours. When you see that, you'll see folic acid. What it should be is the natural version of that called methylfolate. So it's got that methyl donor attached to the B vitamin. There's a literal genetic thing called MTHFR, which I have and probably someone you know has, which makes it impossible for people to break down folic acid. So you should be really aware when you're looking at packages. When you see folic acid, it's a red flag that they're using a really cheap flour that is so
Mhm.
stripped of vitamins, they have to fortify it with these fake ones, but your body might not be able to break it down, and it's going to cause a lot of other reactions. I'm pretty sure a lot of the gluten intolerance in the world is really an intolerance to this and pesticides. So that's when people say, like, I went to Europe and I ate pasta all this, because they're not using this kind of flour. That's the secret. It's not because you all of a
Mm.
sudden became not gluten intolerant. You've always just been poison intolerant.
Mm.
So methylfolate is the right form for that. But we do that for every single one of the B vitamins. It's the more expensive, more bioavailable, less bitter tasting version of all these things.
So is it bioavailable having it in the powder form? As all this is in 2 scoops in the powder of momentum
Mhm.
into water, shake it up. So is it the powder form versus like a liposomal delivery capsule injection?
Sure, sure, sure. So we include a fat source with in momentum, one to make it creamier and more delicious, but also to make some of these fat soluble vitamins more bioavailable at the same time. So it's a powderized. When I say powderized, we're taking a liquid oil and we're spraying it onto the fiber, and it's absorbing that oil. So that's what powderizing means. There's no like chemical thing that's happening. It's just being absorbed into the fiber. Yeah.
Well, there's so much more. So you guys can dive into the website, the prebiotics, omega-3s. I found that pretty fascinating. I got to stop on here. So it's coming from flaxseed is to get omega-3s and
So
it's four
there's
to one.
lots of kinds of omega-3s. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that that is our strongest. The best kind of omega-3 is going to be like from a fish oil or an algae,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So you have ALA, DHA, and EPA forms. And from a plant base, where we get this with flaxseed, is ALA, which is good. It's useful, and some of it breaks down or converts, I should say, into DHA. But the best is going direct to that. However, a fish tasting shake is not going to
Yeah.
be really great, right? So
And I would think
we wanted to
just in,
provide some omega-3s. It's not the optimal form,
yeah.
but it's
Good.
certainly a big step up from not having them. And
So
there's
that's a
all
good
kinds of
note,
positives.
though,
Hmm.
to say that like I have the genetic SNP that I can't convert plant-based
Mm,
omega-3. So looking at your genetics, I think is very helpful to figure out what do you need to adjust and tweak in your nutrition plan to make sure you're able to break that down, absorb it. So
sure.
I don't
You
convert plant-based.
it may not
Well, so I
convert
still
to
need supplement.
DHA, but
Yes.
ALA can do its own things too that are
Yeah.
positive as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm just still make sure you're getting your fish
Yeah.
and omega-3 fatty acids probably as well because we need so much of those. So it's like the
Yeah,
anti-inflammatory benefits and the brain health.
the last probably important thing is these digestive enzymes. There's no point in taking all this stuff
Yes.
if it's just going to pass through you really quickly.
Thank you.
So this was really important to me that if you were to go online and try to find the best digestive enzyme supplement, this would be the dose it would be at, and it would be this formulation. So we have five different
Wow.
kinds of enzymes that we put in there. Again, these are things that your body makes, and declines as you get older. So that's why things maybe are your digestion isn't as good as you get older, is because you're literally not making as many of these digestive enzymes.
And
So you can
so
supplement
important.
these and you take them every day, and it's going to help you break down your food, digest it better, extract more of the nutrients, make you feel better, make you feel fuller. A lot of overeating is your body saying it's nutrient deficient, right? So keep eating. There's something missing.
Yeah.
So, but you're getting all those calories with it too. So if you can extract more of the nutrients that from the food you're already eating, you'll be less hungry. And then you'll also be less nutrient deficient at the same time.
That's it's so important because I've been doing these really geeky rabbit hole solo episodes on my show, audio podcast version. You can
Mhm.
learn all about this because I did a whole thing on stomach acid and SIBO and autoimmune and what goes wrong. You got to work backwards and work north, how you're eating, how the vagus nerve is functioning to activate all these processes. But as we get older, as we talked about, what we lose is the ability to create more stomach acid and then digestive enzymes. And so we need to make sure, we might need to supplement here as well as strengthen that vagus nerve because that's activating all these processes in order of operation. So how we eat is so essential, but sometimes understanding you might be trying to do all the right things, but you're still struggling because there's just some things that are just missing or you don't have enough of. And I think be able to break your food down. So it's what you eat, but what you can digest, break down, and absorb. And all
Right.
of these formulation or ingredients in your formulation really make sense and are what people need as you age, as you obviously know.
I would, and probably a lot of your listeners, at least some of them are probably thinking, like, why not just eat real food? Um, to achieve what we are trying to do right here in
Mhm.
220 calories, you'd have to eat, I don't know,
Yeah,
200,000
exactly.
calories worth of food to get this level of nutrients. It's just
It's
very difficult,
amazing.
especially as, the world has moved on. There are just less nutrients and minerals in our food. So you have to eat more. And that's, I think, a reason why there's such an obesity epidemic.
Yeah.
So yes, really good real food is an absolute must. But if we're trying to do something optimal, like live longer, if you're trying to do something not normal to the population, if you want different results, you have to do something different. And so this is for people who are
Insanity.
really striving to be at their absolute best for as long as possible. And there just isn't a way to do that with the current American food system.
Well, you think about what is in here, all these ingredients we went over, the price point isn't that overwhelming. I think when you understand what is the price said, it's
$5 a day.
$150. Yeah. And you get all this cool bottle I like with it too. The I think
So
it's
yeah,
just
if you were to
fascinating to
make this
see if I
yourself, it'd be 17, $18 a day.
exactly.
But you wouldn't make it yourself. You would do it for like 3 days and be like fed up with it. So it's one of those things that people like feel like they got to optimize on their own, but then they would never follow through on it. So this will make it easy. It'll make it delicious, and it'll save you like 400 or 500 bucks a month.
So that's two bags, $150 two bags. So it's $75 a bag of subscription.
Hmm.
So you have two bags, it's for 30 days, 1 month, every day
Yep.
you take.
And just one serving. You don't have to take any other supplements. I would
Yeah.
recommend no other supplements. Um, and
Just
so
get the rest
I'm
from
trying to make
food.
this a one-stop shop. Yeah, I have this for breakfast. With I think with a cappuccino, maybe some eggs, and then I'll have dinner. And so I make sure that I get everything that my body absolutely needs. Everything is at a full dose, all your vitamins and minerals. So you don't have to worry about like, am I deficient in something really ever again? But it also helps, kind of keep my hunger in check and keeps me from overeating, which would definitely happen. I just am less hungry when I do it in the
Yeah.
morning. And like I said before, the dirty secret is like having lower body fat is a real thing. So
Hey, but
that's
Dr.
there's no way
Gabrielle
around it.
Ryan,
It's less
you,
calories.
you got to say that the other way around, though.
Oh
Not
yeah.
lower body fat. I want higher muscle mass. I want more
There
lean
you go.
body
Great.
mass.
Great.
Because if you listen to, I've listened to Dr. Gabrielle when she started 2019. I heard her speak at a conference before COVID. And it was more that it's not fat, it's the lack of muscle. So, not saying we need less body fat, we need
Sure.
reverse that. Other side, flip side, you need more muscle mass,
That is a
more
way to
lean
look at
body
it. A
mass.
body fat percentage is the way I think about it. So
Yes.
if you have more muscle, you can lose. You lower your body fat percentage, but we're talking about like levers to pull. Um, if you, yeah, I'm sure you go to the gym, putting on muscle is really hard. I got really into it, a couple of years ago, working out, and it's hard to tell. Like I thought I did one of those DEXA scans, and I thought like for sure I put on like 10 pounds of muscles after like I had doubled my bench press. I had been going all the time, 6 months, and I put on 3.5 pounds of muscle. I'm a
Well,
180-pound man, right? And I put on 3 pounds of muscle after almost a year. I was like, okay, I mean, it was 6 months. Anyways, it's very difficult to put on muscle. It's super easy comparatively
put
to
on
just
fat.
eat less and drop.
Mhm.
Because I also at the same time dropped like 10 pounds of fat. So I was like
Mm,
stoked about that. But
yeah.
eating fewer calories, yeah,
Yeah, it
it's the
is.
science.
That's why I think it also helps with looking at your genetics, how I best should exercise and figure out what my genetics tell me that I do best with, and then looking at the
Mhm.
aging process and then variations and combining that with nutrition is
For
important and
sure.
all the other
For
stuff.
sure.
So anyways, I could talk to you for hours because I feel that we're on a similar mission to help improve the aging process and really thrive. And I love what you guys are doing over there. That's why I wanted to make sure we had a good time to podcast and go over the ingredients because I think it's everything I'm researching as a health investigator and looking at a holistic approach and how to get the nutrients from what we're eating every day. So our body has the tools it needs to building blocks to be the better version of herself as we age, not say, oh, I'm getting older. This is my new normal. I'm just going to suck. Things are going to get worse. And flip that and make sure we get the body what it's missing as you age. And you've done the research, the formulation, and quality key ingredients. I think it's pretty powerful. And testing this out, having it every day. And will add that I liked putting it into my coffee on ice and just mixing it together for my morning drink. It's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
amazing.
it
So
makes a
thank
great
you.
latte. It's got to be
Hmm.
cold. Don't
Yeah.
don't ever add this sort of stuff to a hot liquid. It'll
No,
denature a
you
lot of the
put it
vitamins.
in one of these bottles and with ice and just pour it over after
Oh,
the one
it's
that you guys
delicious.
give. Yeah. So thank you so much. And I'll put the link in the show notes because we'll give you guys a discount code and find out how to order it and test it out. Let us know how you feel.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, you can email me directly at mike@momentumshake.com. I'm available. Yeah, we make everything in-house in Madison, Wisconsin, which is super rare. Almost every other company you're going to see is it'll be an entrepreneur and then it'll help outsource that to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have never been to the facility. They
Mm-hmm.
will never source the ingredients. I personally have sourced and made relationships with every one of these
Yeah,
manufacturers. We make it in-house. So we're really trying to make something handcrafted and awesome. And I
you
hope it makes
are.
your life better.
Good story. Good story too. That always helps.
Thank you so much, Ms. Potts.